So, if you're anything like me, playing through the opening of Cyberpunk 2077 probably felt somewhat misleading. What I mean by this is that a large portion of the immersive elements integrated in the first act disappear afterward. Even a relatively easy, yet roleplay changing feature like proper Ripper Dock interaction are gone after your first visit with Vic, replaced by a boring pop-up menu. I have a solution though. While Cyberpunk itself has grown since its release, solving many of its prior issues and even adding some quests and features, alongside it, the modding scene has grown exponentially. The community continues to impress with its features despite 2077 being far from the easiest game to modify. While yes, this is a PC-only solution, I assume everyone has clicked knowing so. Well, today, I present you with 17 essential mods that will truly alter your immersion for the better. All mods presented will be linked down below with their respective Nexus Mods pages. I heavily recommend downloading the Vortex Mod Manager. There's some odd controversy about installing mods yourself and that mod managers are useless, but for some mods, Vortex is outright needed to avoid a very shaky installation. This way, you can just download the Vortex file and have it automatically located through the manager, giving you zero hassle. And of course, when you wish to uninstall mods, once the next update rolls out, it is easily manageable. If for some reason though you refuse to use a mod manager, for the majority of mods you just extract the file into your Cyberpunk 2077 folder. You can find further instructions as well on each mod page. Either way, there's some base mods required for a majority of mods to work. Those will be linked down below, filed as Nexus Requirements. So now that you hopefully understand the installation options and directions, let's begin. This first grouping of mods are going to set the atmosphere for your night city, providing more depth and tone to the world you obviously interact with. What better way to set up a cyberpunk setting than to firstly mess with the weather? The Weather Probability Rebalance mod changes weather patterns and minimum and maximum durations, so that rain and other interesting weather happens more often. There's an interesting graph and chart that present the concept really well, so I'll be placing those on screen. The main takeaway is that you will no longer be getting sunny weather for 8 to 15 minutes. Instead, you'll be getting a lot more diversity and cyberpunk-esque weather during your gameplay. And this next mod happens to share its roots with the previous at its core. The Lifepath bonuses and Gang-Corp traits mod takes the probabilities, statistics, and enemy diversity to a new level, while also complementing your life path. In the base game, your life path is really just limited to 2077's introduction and dialogue options, but this mod detects a list of gangs or corps that are familiar to you depending on your life path, with the others considered opposed to you. You then get bonuses and penalties to those groups. Generally, the idea is that finding people you know is easier for you and them, and you get very little street cred for killing them because it hurts your reputation with those people. While fighting groups you are naturally opposed to will provide additional street cred. This mod also provides a large list of changes for each group of enemies. For example, Maelstrom will be immune to bleeding, seeing as they are chrome junkies. Definitely install this mod if you felt that you were just fighting the same enemies reskinned throughout 2077. Within the tabletop RPGs that are predecessors to 2077, fashion is relatively impactful. Depending on what you wear, you would obviously get bonuses in relation to both armor as well as your charisma. While this wouldn't be across the board, an example would be showing up to a corpo meeting with a suit on would make you much more impressive than being in some streetwear. The Streetstyle Immersive Fashion mod somewhat implements this idea, adding depth to clothing by making your stylistic fashion choices directly interact with gameplay in meaningful ways. For example, if you wear net-running equipment which has quite high intelligence values, it will boost your intelligence stat in dialogue options and device interactions that require a certain level of skill in that field. On the other hand, it will not boost your strength and reflexes stats by a lot, since net-running equipment is not designed for direct combat. This is something a heavy Arasaka chestplate would be a lot better at. Overall, this mod is going to make you think a lot more about your outfit decisions, something the base game doesn't promote at all. You're even rewarded with additional stats when having a matching set. But now that you've got the proper atmosphere and are appropriately outfitted, this next mod actually opens up new interactions around Night City, aptly named Night City Interactions. This mod opens up a number of spots where you're able to sit down and share a drink with other chooms, letting you have more interaction with companions such as Jackie, before his inevitable death during the heist, or even Carrie. An additional bonus to this mod is that it opens up interaction with some of the most famous locations from the Edgerunners anime, allowing you to sit or lean at these iconic locations to feel a wave of longing as you take in the view. The next mod is in similar vein to the previous. It's titled Street Vendors, and despite being an extremely simple addition to 2077, adds a lot more viability to the streets of Night City. All those street vendors that you couldn't previously interact with will now sell items to you, allowing you more spots to buy smaller goods and to sell to. Again, it's a small mod that adds some life to Night City in spots that were relatively untouched. So now, we move on to a mod that modifies one of our base cybernetics we always have with us. The Kiroshi Opticals Crowd Scanner allows for each crowd NPC that would normally scan with basic information to now have a procedurally generated and unique backstory. Displayed through a new information section, rich/corporate NPCs will typically have more positive or affluent events, while poor or homeless NPCs will have had much more difficult lives. That's Night City for you, and the mod really drives it home. You may see duplicate NPCs walking around with the same appearance or backgrounds, which can feel a little goofy at times, but this is because of the way the game currently handles crowd spawning and despawning, so hopefully CDPR might tweak this in the future. The mod's future is seemingly promising as well. The roadmap by the creator even aims to display stats for each NPC, along with integration to other mods. I recommend adding this to your list, and keeping it up to date for future editions. When you first attempted stealth in your playthrough, you probably had a similar experience to myself. I picked up a silent sniper rifle, positioned myself on a distant cargo crate, and got ready to shoot. I selected a target out of sight from any other enemy, and fired, taking them out in one shot. I was ready to move on to the next one, until a hail of gunfire honed in on my position. The enemies, despite my silencer, distance, and selective targeting, had been alerted by the kill. Well, this mod corrects this error by CDPR in 2077's design. Silent silencers and throwing knives, just as the name implies, stops the combat state from triggering when you shoot enemies with silenced weapons or throw knives at them. Enemies will still become alerted and look around for you. If you stay hidden, you can continue to harass them from the shadow. If the attack applies a status effect, then the enemies will try to use the reveal position hack on you. For those looking to run a proper stealth playthrough and build, this mod is perfect. Now, there's a weird trend in video games that despite often having a model generated for your character, the game refuses to allow you to see yourself in first person. You know what I mean, choom. Classic floating head on an invisible body sort of perspective. The immersive first person mod fixes it though, allowing you to see what is hopefully a dripped out V. For your sake, of course. Definitely install this if you're looking to get an immersive experience and feel like you're actually in the game. Earlier in the video, I mentioned the loss of immersion after Act 1. No longer sitting in a Ripper Doc's chair to be pampered and modified. Instead staring at a bland buy and apply menu. There's 2 mods to help bring back the lost Ripper Doc experience though. The Immersive Rippers and Immersive Vic mod add immersion to all the Ripper Docs, so you can now sit in their chairs to get work done. There's even an option for Fingers to be paid back as an apology after hammering his teeth in. This way, you can regain access to his services. Though if you're like me, I use my Malorian power pistol to wipe him off the face of Earth. I am happy with my decision. Want to see the beautiful rising and setting of the sun and moon after your amazing decision to delete Fingers? The Immersive Timeskip mod allows you to use the vanilla timeskip widget to view the world as it changes around you. This could also be named the Made in Heaven mod, for its clear roots in JoJo's Part 6. Make sure to get this installed if you enjoy the visuals of Cyberpunk 2077. It's initially pretty amusing that there's a clear, fully planned out metro system around Night City, clear as day, yet unable to be used. After seeing it repeatedly though, even in Edgerunners, it starts to become relatively frustrating, as such an easy feature is absent from the game. The metro system mod actually adds a fully usable metro system, with 19 explorable stations to camp out at and even the ability to swap between third and first person perspectives during a ride, providing you a new way to take in the beauty of Night City as you immersively travel from location to location. Definitely get this mod if you're sick of either driving around or just teleporting. So, a huge piece of a puzzle tends to be missing when it comes to stealth and Netrunner gameplay, especially the idea that AI Netrunners seem to be heavily underutilized, usually trapped to the same repetitive netrunning quick hacks. However, the AI Netrunner Advanced mod improves enemy netrunners by adding a multitude of hacks, which happen to be for the most part restored cut content. Normally, all enemies can use reveal position to find your location and enter the combat state, alongside netrunners being able to use overheat. In contrast, this mod adds 10 possible enemy netrunner hacks, 5 of which being damage, 4 control, and 1 ultimate. Each netrunner is given a catalog of around 3 hacks to use, minimum 1 damage and 1 control, that are chosen randomly with some weighting based on level. And the netrunners select from their catalog according to another set of weights, and each hack has a different upload time. Generally, better hacks take longer to upload. This mod really brings the netrunning enemy archetype to life in battle. You can even pair this with the Amateur Hackers mod that allows more enemies to quick hack you. Due to the increased quantity of these enemies though, they obviously tend to use lower end quick hacks, just like the name suggests. If you want to feel like a real netrunner in the middle of combat, this mod is essential to your playthrough. Since the release of Edgerunners, and our experience with characters such as Dawid, Main, and Atom Smasher, cyberpsychosis has been a hot topic, consistently appearing in theories, conversation, and debate, deriving questions from 2077 as to why our character V doesn't experience cyberpsychosis. Well, now they can. The Wannabe Edgerunner mod adds a very basic humanity cost system for cyberware implants, as well as a few low humanity side effects, including cyberpsychosis. You can even be popping an unholy amount of neuroblockers, like Dawid and Main. What makes this mod so cool is that it follows in the footsteps of the Cyberpunk tabletop RPGs created by Mike Pondsmith. Definitely check out this mod to feel immersed in the consequences of your cyberware installation. Now, the limited HUD mod is perfect for a very specific group of people, which maybe you just happen to fit into. If you dislike the current HUD of 2077 and find it cluttered, and it pulls you out of the immersion you seek in a first-person RPG, this mod hides main HUD widgets such as action buttons, crouch indicators, weapon rosters, hints, and more by default, and shows them only on certain events which you can configure. If you're looking for a more cinematic atmosphere while playing 2077, I heavily recommend this mod to you. And now, we finally arrive on our final mod that also happens to be the least impactful. What makes Immersion what it is though are the smaller details that you can partake in. This is where the Idle Anywhere mod fits in. Adds the ability to smoke, drink, and eat while V is idle, providing some actions and characterization to your V that allows you to take roleplay just a bit further. I hope you all enjoyed the video. I'm sure these mods will help provide anybody with an advanced sense of immersion during their playthrough that can't really be rivaled anywhere else in the cyberpunk genre. Let me know all your thoughts on these mods, and if you have any more to add down below. I'd like to thank every member on screen as well. Your support is recognized, and I will always appreciate having chooms like you along for the ride. I aim to improve my content with each and every video. If you'd like to become a member as well, I now have memberships open for as little as $1 a month. You can receive some cool perks such as emoticons, profile icons, your name in the end scroll of each video, and much more. I look forward to seeing what you all have to say. Have a great week, chooms.